This is the show where we challenge you, the great British public, to take on some of the most weird, wonderful and physically demanding tests on telly.
So, have you got what it takes? Because we're looking for battlers, not bottlers. We're looking for people who think they can withstand the pressure of anything Ruth and I can throw at them.
And today's competitors are up for it. They think they've got what it takes, and we'll find out if they have. This is what we've got lined up for them.
Ball control at its best on Keep It Up. Plus teamwork's roughest quest, Friends Up. And trying to hit the target for charity, rugby's Liam Botham. And test spinner Phil Tufnell.
And we open with the main event of the day, and as you can see, it's the Super Rider.
And anybody who gets around this course intact without damaging their bike or their bits wins an under-pressure medal.
And believe me, these medals are not easily won.
And whoever gets around the course in the fastest time possible then goes on to try and win £5,000 as they tackle the tower.
So, that's the rules. These are the competitors. Are you lot ready for some pressure?
Yeah!
Let's go!
The course opens with a balance beam and post before the riders jump at the first brake zone. The angled cable drum and ladder incline then drops to a pair of cable drums and up to the second brake zone. A 2-metre drop, then a leap to the oil drums. The final platform's 3 metres high, leading to the curved beam and the vault to the winner's podium. That's all there is to it. Ben Coath is mounted up and ready to blaze the waiting trail as our first Super Rider of the night. Ben's a 20-year-old student and a member of the Essex Bike Club. His opening obstacles, the bar leading to the uneven poles. This post-hopping, a baptism of fire. Ben specialises in trial biking. Oh, but found guilty there. Give our regards to the girls of the Essex Bike Club. And speaking of girls, meet Anna Rubio, our first ever female super rider. Anna's 23, comes from Spain, and she's lived in Britain for just over 2 years. Bit of a slow start there from Anna. Oh, and a bit of a quick finish too. At least she had a go. From the smiling Anna Rubio to the beaming Chris Miller, avionics student from Glasgow looking to fly around this course. Whoever finishes in the fastest time will try for a possible £5,000 in our big tower finale. Bit of a front wheel slippage on the second post there. Chris using a borrowed bike here, having smashed up his own during the earlier practice session. Feet aren't allowed to touch the floor until they reach the brake zones. Chris fighting for control all the time. He's gone! A rear-wheeled skid marks the end of Chris Miller. Despite those disc brakes, there's sideways play at the back and it's curtains for Chris. Meanwhile, behind the gates, it's Jonathan Taylor. When he's not studying this course, 18-year-old Jonathan's studying leisure and tourism. Says his ambition is to become a trials bike professional. Needs to get beyond the posts if he's to secure the lead in this competition as the best so far. The crowd likes it. Jonathan rides out of the Essex Bike Trial Club, but he's straight on the bus home. Thought Jonathan started like a dream, but again, these posts proving a nightmare.
Our next competitor is Stuart Matthews. Now, Stuart, you're a policeman with the Met, yeah?
That's right, I work in London, yes.
Don't you get teased by your colleagues for doing this?
Well, I do, because I think that, you know, it's a sport that really for little boys rather than myself. But I've been riding since 1984, and I just really enjoy the sport and love it.
And you've done pretty well, haven't you?
Well, during those years, yes, I've managed to compete in places like Japan and Latvia and around Europe and taken part in the World Championships as well.
Can I just ask you to stand up as well for one moment? Because you are a tall bloke. I mean, is this an advantage?
Well, not really, because you really want your centre of gravity to be as low as possible. But in the competition, sometimes I can use that to an advantage by putting a foot down and lifting the bike up. But it's going to be different today because it's all about balance.
Absolutely, and no feet down at all.
No, that's right.
You'll hear that whistle going.
That's it.
Good luck, Stuart. Off you go.
Thank you.
Stuart Matthews then, Britain's longest and tallest trials rider, started cycling back in 1984, needs to reach the first brake zone to take the lead. I'll tell you what, this looks good and fast, making short work of the post with those long hops. First brake zone and the best so far. Gearing up for the leap to the angled cable drum. Good front wheel lift coupled with quick braking secure him to the drum. A fast-track force to be reckoned with in the police, but once off duty, Stuart can't wait to hang up his handcuffs, put away his truncheon and get his leg over that bike. In fact, his father was the founder of the Essex Trial Club. The ladder dispensed with, now watch this rear wheel balance drop to the lower platform. Excellent control from Stuart, extending his lead. The next milestone, the rolling cable drum. Good front wheel bite to stop the roll. This next jump is crucial. Superb, almost balletic bounce onto the second cable drum. The crowd love it. Next, it's the safety of the second brake zone. Magnificent exhibition this from Stuart Matthews. Under pressure now to work that bike into the power lift position. Stuart living on the edge. This next brake zone, 3 meters above the arena floor, makes it the falls back. Huge disappointment for Stuart. On the brake zone, Stuart can put his feet down, but doesn't get the necessary uplift. Falls short and back. And from the other angle, we can see how little sideways movement he could manage.
As one of the few people on this show that actually got a full-time job, how do you find time for this?
It's very, very difficult. I have to either get up early, training in the morning. During the summer, I can go out in the evenings as well. But really, to find the good rocks and places to practice, I have to travel. So it does take a lot of time.
What kind of policeman are you?
I actually work as a detective at Chingford.
All right, because I've got a few parking tickets that I'd like to take. And if you could give us a hand sometime.
I'll sort those out, no problem.
All right, anyway, congratulations. That's fantastic. Good job.
But not before Stuart sorted out his bent bike and claimed his place at the top of the leaderboard. Still to come on Under Pressure, Liam Botham has a pop at Hit the Target. The mind-boggling ball juggling, keep it up, and more super riders try for that £5,000 crack at the tower.
Over the last 5 or 10 years, bikes have changed out of all recognition. I've got my mate Mike here to tell us exactly what's going on with a cutting-edge bike.
Okay, on this model, you've got hydraulic disc brakes at the rear, tubeless technology on the wheels, so it's pretty much similar to your car nowadays. Full suspension, so the rear suspension unit's adjustable for the geometry of the frame set, and moving up to the front, we've got a single-sided lefty fork, and it's also the only fork in the world to feature electronics as well, electronic lockout.
And what does the actual electronic lockout do?
I mean, basically, you're always, the pro racer is going to be looking to be as efficient as possible. So by locking the fork out on sort of smoother sections or sprints or climbs, he's going to be able to get to the end of the goal quicker than the next person.
What does all this cutting-edge technology set your bike, mate?
You're going to probably not get much change from about £4 grand, so it's not cheap.
I guess I'm going to have to do a lot more of these programmes before I can afford one.
Well, maybe.
Behind the gates, Ben Savage is the next super rider intent on taming this urban course. Ben, one of the youngest super riders, age 13, but don't let his youth fool you, because Ben's been the British trial bike champion in his class for the last 4 years. These posts a great early test of balance, but Ben's across the correction. Ben Savage piloting a 20-inch bike complete with the smash plate, looking good for the first brake zone. Ben's dad, Fred Savage, happy with his progress so far. The angled cable drum sets up for the bunny-hopping ladder climb, and Ben's smaller wheels may struggle in the gaps between the rungs.
Steady, steady.
Good progress from Ben, looking down now into the void of that 1 meter drop. Good landing from Ben. Needs to get himself securely aboard the second brake zone if he's to snatch the lead from Stuart Matthews. And that brake zone is the other side of these on-the-edge cable drums. Firing up for the leap. One jump away from the lead, the brake zone platform a metre above him. Remember, this is where Stuart, the copper, came a cropper. Oh, and a big disaster for Ben. Fails to start the jump and touches down. Big shock and a big disappointment. Ben holds that front end up with enormous skill, but somehow loses it and tips forward. Gary Winfer is next up from Burntwood, Staffordshire. He's been cycling for 2 years, but across nothing like this, I'm sure. Referee Tony Smith whistles him away, needs to get safely to the second brake zone to top the leaderboard. The man with the camcorder is Roger Winfer, Gary's dad. I think it might have been easier just to have taped Gary's run off the telly, Roger. Gary at the first brake zone. He's 17 years of age and last year came second overall in the British Championships mountain bike class. Making full use of his rest time on the brake zone. Remember, here's where any part of your body can touch the surface of the brake zone and the clock is stopped. Time or distance are the crucial factors in determining which super rider goes through to face the £5,000 tower. Gary making short work of the ladder. Eyeing up the rest of the course to come, and it's a bit of a daunting prospect, isn't it? Starting with this rear wheel drop. Next, the colour-clashing cable drums. Gary mindful of the fact that the first drum is unsecured and capable of rolling. Onto the roller. The crowd knows he's got to beat both these drums before taking a pop at the second brake zone. Tyre grip and brake secure his position on the second drum. Needs to make this to take the lead. And the pressure's on for Gary Winfer. Building for the lift. Needs balance for the jump. And he's there, of sorts. Roger can see that Gary's on the brake zone, but his bike's not. Gary's perfectly within the rules so long as he's on the brake zone and his bike's not on the floor. It's a bit of a tangle, but Gary pulls it out of the mire and into the lead. The jump, like so many tonight, wasn't that good. Fails to hook a pedal onto the lip of the brake zone, but just manages to hold the bike. Dad has kept the stylish hat, but given up with the camera. Obviously, deciding our coverage was good enough for the massive 2-metre drop. Now for the rising oil drums. No one's made it this far before. It's a massive vault, but those barrels are the stepping stones to the next high platform. Launches himself to it. He's there. No, he's gone. Consolation from Roger, knows Gary's jumped himself into the lead, fights to keep the back wheel on the second drum, but falls away into the valley of death.
Now, when you actually landed, you landed on your feet. Where was the bike? What happened?
I don't know, it just...
Gravity?
The bike, to land on my pedal where I needed to land, I couldn't get that last inch or two higher, and the bike just slipped from underneath my legs, and I just tried to save it, so...
We did brilliantly to get this far.
Yeah, cheers.
Gary puts the win in Winfer and tops the leaderboard. Now for a change of venue and sport. Welcome back, and a couple of super riding experts are still warming up, but one seems to have forgotten which end is the saddle, which is a bit of a worry. This guy's puncture test looks to be rather extreme. Here's a bit of super rider practice, but I doubt that'll come in handy. The guy's either fainted or he's mad. But losing a wheel won't stop this rider. So nothing there of any use whatsoever to our next competitor. He's George Gurry from Seaton in Devon, a cycle mechanic by trade, and George has got to engineer his way around the super rider course, up to and beyond the oil drums, if he's to wrestle the lead from Gary Winfer. Good fast work over the posts and plenty of support. First brake zone for George. The angled drum and the ladder will lead to his next real test. The twins of evil in the super rider world, namely the two cable drums. Confident riding up the rungs, 21-year-old George came 5th overall in last year's British Championships. Next, the descent to the platform. This needs a careful setup, squaring the bike round for the best angle from which to attack the drums. George firmly down. Smashing the cameraman's nose with that back wheel as he composes himself for the big push to the drums. He's there. No, he's gone. The drum roll beats George Gurry. This setup was fine, but he launched himself short and had nothing to lock onto. Foot down, and sadly, George is out.
George, well done. How did you find it?
I
I was a bit worried about the first bit, but it generally went, the middle bit wasn't as hard as I expected. But again, I messed up on that, so it must have been her.
Well, you're our only competitor to get this far who's wearing jeans and not some slinky Lycra outfit.
Yeah.
Have you got one of those somewhere tucked away?
Well, yeah, but that's only for Saturday nights.
What a great guy. Meanwhile, this is Paul Thompson of Highgate, also having a go at the cable drums. 24-year-old Paul works as a computer programmer. Oh, he's just downloaded himself. Stockport's Richard Ayres next, 15 years old. He trains every day and wants to be a professional trials rider. Can he do better on the drums? No. Foot down. This obstacle's a real problem. Danny Butler's chance to try and get past these cable drums, 14 years old, 3 of them as a trials biker. No, he's rolled it and touchdown. Different angle, different rider, same problem to overcome. Stephen Thompson's an 18-year-old bike trialer. By trade, he's a postman, but for once fails to deliver the goods. Trying to break the pattern, Neil Robway, 19. He's a carpenter, but even he can't nail it. Straight into the valley of death. Spectacular tangle of body and bike. Neil tries to make contact, finds himself pedalling in thin air, and then almost takes a face full of cable drum before the plummet. Thankfully, he's unhurt. This is Martin Hawes, currently the British #2 trials biker, bouncing his way up the ladder, comes from Port Talbot, needs to get beyond the oil drums if he's to top the leaderboard. This discipline is extremely strenuous. The all-important approach for the drop to the cable drums. Let's see if Martin can take us beyond the graveyard, which has claimed so many victims tonight. This move is essential. Front wheels locked on. Can he bounce to the second drum from there? He can. Lifts the curse from the cable drums, and they're pleased to see that. Next, it's the giant back wheel vault to the second brake zone. Great jump to safety, but Martin can't afford to relax. He's quick, but there's a 2-metre drop below him, and if that's not pressure enough, the barrels are next. The back wheel absorbs the impact. Martin knows he needs to clear these 3 rising barrels to guarantee his place at the top of the leaderboard. Look at that concentration as he gears up for the launch. But he's there. Can he hold it? He can't. Martin Hawes straight onto the second oil drum and out the other side. A great disappointment. From this top angle, you can see it's a superhuman leap to that second drum, but his brakes just couldn't kill the momentum. Martin's down with Daly.
That performance has taken you to the top of our leaderboard. I mean, I think you've got to be happy with that. Obviously, it might have been nice to have gone further.
Yeah, I can't be too disappointed. It is the furthest so far, but being a trials rider, it's all about getting over the course, isn't it? And I didn't get over the course.
But it's a magnificent time, and now brace yourselves for another. Welcome back, and there's a bit of a problem for competitor Martin Ashton.
Just come back from the States and the bikes haven't turned up, basically, so we've just got to fit something together and hope it works and keep my fingers crossed. It's last year's frame. The new frames, the design's totally different, but we want to change a few things and we didn't want them not working on TV, so we know this works.
The question is, does it work over the under-pressure urban course? The clock is running. The goal for Martin Ashton is to get beyond the oil drums. If he can make it, he'll snatch the right to try for £5,000 in our tower finale from the current leader, Martin Hawes. And the omens are encouraging. First brake zone in no time at all. Martin Ashton certainly has his eye on the cash. Martin from Margam in Port Talbot, bunny hopping the ladder. Application of brakes combined with balance and strength. With the ladder climbed, the next hurdle, strangely, is a drop. A metre down to prepare for the Super Rider Cemetery. Good, solid, no-nonsense style from this 27-year-old pro cyclist. The cable drums are next. Front wheel locked on and the crowd holding its breath. Martin under pressure to judge this just right, adjusting his position all the time. He's cleared the danger. Martin Hawes applauding the skill, but knows that this Martin is a real threat. Martin Ashton with another big jump ahead of him. This to the second brake zone. Rears the bike and eases it to the brake zone. Incredible effort. Makes this jump by making full use of his chain guarding rock ring as a landing point. Martin Ashton square on the 2-metre plummet. Stomach-churning plunge. You wouldn't want him to give you a lift on his crossbar. Next, it's the barrels. Remember, needs to make it beyond the oil drums to take the lead. Kangaroos from the second drum and onto the third, again landing on his rock ring. His feet mustn't touch down, but the back wheel must come up. And he's done it! Amazing skills from Martin Ashton. Only the second person in the history of Under Pressure to make it this far. Now the curved beam 3 metres above the floor. He's there, safely across. Martin Ashton just a 2-metre lead from victory, but what a distance he has to fly. How about that? Only the second ever completed run, which earns him an Under Pressure medal, fires up the flumes for a place in history, and in our finale, Super Rider winner Martin Ashton. A master at work, the curved beam just needed a little extra balance. But the heart-stopping final jump was pin perfect. Didn't put a spoke wrong. I think he's pleased with that.
Martin, that was absolutely fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Talk us through a couple of the more difficult elements.
The most difficult piece is definitely the barrels, for sure.
Tell us why, because...
Well, one, it's actually quite high when you get there. I was actually quite scared. I didn't realise it was going to be as high as that. But, yeah, that was the hardest bit. And the first bit as well, actually, is pretty... That was what I was most nervous about.
The poles?
Them little poles.
Listen, for getting all the way through our little course...
Thank you very much.
You get one of our little Under Pressure medals, and you've been the only person to get through. Obviously, you're the leader, and we're going to see you at the Tower for that $5 grand.
Brilliant.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, our super rider Martin has beaten the opposition, and now it's time for him to beat the tower and maybe win some cash.
Yes. What Martin has to do to win is reduce the height of the tower block by block, by each time knocking away the bottom block using a sledgehammer. Martin, you're only allowed to have 2 hits of any block.
As you can see, each block has a cash value from 250 quid at the bottom to the dizzy heights of 5,000 at the top. But if Martin knocks a tower over and it collapses, the competition stops.
Do you have any idea at all which hammer you want?
I'm going to go for 4 kilograms, I think.
The big one?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you go get it and we'll get out of your way. All right. Come on, Martin!
Whoa! 250 quid already.
Go on, Martin. Oh, maybe I won't do that.
Playing for 500.
It's playing for time.
Whoa!
Good job, Martin.
£500 going for 1,000.
Hard as you can, Martin. Got to get rid of them.
Way!
Try and hit the blocks, Martin. Try not to hit the base.
Going for 1,500 quid.
That's the one, Martin.
Martin is annihilating our set, but he's earning money. £2,000. Going for 2,500.
Take it easy, Martin. No, you've got to hit it.
Hard.
2,500.
Where did you spend it on?
I've got no idea. Some beers, I expect.
Well, do you want some new friends? That's all we've got time for tonight. Join us again next week when we'll be putting more people under pressure.
There'll be Hit the Target with Masters golfer Andrew Coltart, and Charlton Athletic soccer star Graham Stewart has a go too. Plus, the Keep It Up Football Challenge continues to impress, along with Friends Up. And next week's main challenge will be the Domino Run.